Good morning, chat. Hope you guys are having a fantastic morning. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a video out last night, but we're gonna make it up today. Hopefully, we get to play some golf later today. Surprisingly, the weather hasn't been that bad. Obviously, it's been gloomy, a little rainy, just slight rain, but overall not bad. So hopefully today it stays the same so we can play a round of golf. 9 or 18, we'll see. But without further ado, let's get into it. Number 2, to test this idea about the transparency of friends, I contacted a psychologist named Jennifer Fugate, who teaches at the University of Massachusetts at Dartmouth. Fugate is an expert in FACS, which stands for Facial Action Coding System. In FACS, every one of the 43 detective muscle movements in the face is assigned a number called an action unit. People like Fugate, who are trained in FACS, can then look at someone's facial expressions and score them, just as a musician can listen to a piece of music and translate it into a series of notes on the page. So for example, take a look at this photo. That's called a Pan Am smile, the kind of smile a flight attendant gives you when he or she is trying to be polite. When you give that kind of smile, you pull up the corners of your lips using what's called the zygomaticus major muscle, but leave the rest of your face impassive. That's why the smile looks fake. It's a smile without any kind of facial elaboration. In the FACS, the Pan Am smile using the zygomaticus major is called as AU12. Now look at this one. Now look at this. This is what's called a Duchnal smile. It's what a genuine smile looks like. In technical terms, it's AU12 plus AU6, meaning that it is a facial movement involving the outer portion of the orbiculus ocular muscle, raising the cheeks and creating those telltale crow's feet around the eyes. FACS is an extraordinary sophisticated tool. It involves categorizing and exacting detailed thousands of muscular movements, some of which may appear on the face for no more than a fraction of a second. The FACS manual is over 500 pages long. If Fugate had done a FACS analysis of the entire Girls Who Hits Joey episode, it would have taken her days, so I asked her to focus just on the opening scene. Ross sees Chandler and Monica embracing, then rushes over in anger. Here's what she found. When Ross looks through the cracked door and sees his sister in a romantic embrace with his best friend, his face shows action units 10 plus 16 plus 25 plus 26. That's the upper lip raiser, levator labii superius caput infrabioletis. The lower lip depressor labiti, parted lips, depressor labii, relax mentalis or arbulip, and jaw drop, relax temporal and internal typoid. And the FACS system, muscular movements are also given in intensity measure from A to E, with A being mildest and E strongest. All of Ross's 4 muscle movements in that moment are E's. If you go back and watch that Friends episode and freeze the screen at the moment when Ross looks through the door frame, you'll see exactly what the FACS coders are describing. Here, he has an unmistakable look on his face of anger and disgust. Ross then rushes into Monica's apartment. The tension in the scene is accelerating, and so are Ross's emotions. Now his face reads 4C plus 5D plus 7C plus 10E plus 16E plus 25E plus 26E. Again, 4 E's. AU4 is a brow lower, Fugate explains. That's what you do when you frown your brow. 7 is an eye squint. It's called lid tightener. He's kind of scrolling and closing his eyes at the same time, so that's a stereotypic anger. Then the 10 is in this case a very classic for disgust. You kind of lift your upper lip, not really moving the nose, but it gives the appearance that the nose is being turned up. The 16 sometimes happens with that. That's a lower lip depressor. That's when you push your bottom lip down so that you can see your bottom teeth. Monica at the door tries to pretend nothing amiss. She smiles at her brother, but it's a Pan Am smile, not a Duchenne smile. Some 12 in the barest, least plausible whisper of 6. Ross chases Chandler around the kitchen table. Chandler hides behind Monica, and as Ross approaches, he says, "Look, we're not just messing around. I love her, okay? I'm in love with her." Then Monica reaches and takes Ross' hand. "I'm so sorry that you have to find out this way. I'm sorry, but it's true. I love him too." There's a long silence as Ross stares at the two of them, processing a storm of competing emotions. Then he bursts into a smile, hugs them both, and repeats himself, only this time happily. "My best friend and my sister, I'm so happy." As Monica breaks the news to her brother, Fugate scores her as 1C plus 2D plus 12D. The 1 and 2 in combination are sadness. She raises the inner and outer parts of her eyebrows. 12D, of course, is the emotional, incomplete Pan Am smile. She kind of gives, as strange as that sounds, an indicator of sadness, Fugate said, but then happiness. I think it kind of makes sense because she's apologizing, but then she's showing Ross that she's actually okay with this. Ross looks at his sister for a long beat. His face scores classic sadness. Then his face suddenly shifts to 1E to 12D. He's giving back to his sister the exact same mix of emotions she gave to him, sadness combined with the beginnings of happiness. He's losing his sister, but at the same time, he wants her to know that he appreciates her joy. Fugate's facts analysis tells us the actors and friends make sure that every emotion in their character is supposed to feel in their heart is expressed perfectly on their face. That's why you can watch this scene with the sound turned off and still follow along. The words are what make us laugh or what explain particular nuances of narrative, but the facial expressions, facial displays of actors are what carry the plot. The actor's performance and friends are transparent. Transparency is the fact that people's behavior and demeanor, the way they represent themselves on the outside, provides an authentic and reliable window into the way they feel on the inside. It is the second of the crucial tools we use to make sense of strangers. When we don't know anyone or can't communicate with them or don't have the time to understand them properly, we believe we can make sense of them through their behavior and demeanor. Now, I don't know if you guys remembered what I said about what I think this book will be about. This is not what I imagined. But for some reason, the one thing that came to mind regarding this is that there's this one video that I saw that said that if someone's turned away from you and you say their name, and they turn around, and within that very same split second, you can dictate how excited or how, non-excited they are to meet you by their facial expression. So this is very interesting to see that this is coming to a reality in a TV show. Now, I'm kind of skeptic on are they trained? Sure, they're acting. They're really is what it seems to be really showing these emotions, but because these actors been doing it for so long, I think the idea is that they can be very transparent from the outside. That's dictates how they really feel from the inside. But how can we tell that it's real? Does that make sense? How can we really tell it's at a fundamental expression of sadness and happiness when they're actors? Does that make sense? Now, I'm sure this is very applicable in the real world when you're meeting somebody in real life and not, actually actors. But just on the actor aspect, I would love to know more about that. But yeah, next time I'm gonna start paying attention to facial features and see what I can pick up. See you guys later today. Peace.